You click to save money on pizza, not to chew on plastic. You're in the right place. Today we're breaking down 5 chains that sell you the $5 dream with rubbery cheese, sweet industrial sauce, and limp toppings, and 3 that actually taste like pizza. Here's the twist. The cheapest slice on the strip mall menu often costs you more in flavor and nutrition. Stay to see which ovens run hot, which slices sit under heat lamps, and where a few extra dollars buys real tomatoes, real melt, and real value. Quick favor before we move on. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 92% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video. You see the $5 sign and think when. The catch is the pie was built to survive cost cuts, not to taste good. What they don't tell you is the inputs are engineered. Starch-heavy cheese analogs stretch and shine, sweetened paste stands in for tomatoes, and pre-cooked toppings ride along. Your slice loses flavor and texture, so the price looks pretty. Industrial cheese blends add oil and starch, so the melt peels in sheets and eats rubbery. Sugar and concentrates hide thin tomatoes. Par-baked crusts go tough under lamps. Consumer tests pan heat lampied slices in buffets, calling out limp toppings and dead chew. The real kicker, you eat more chasing taste that isn't there. Let's start with a legacy giant. If you grew up on the greasy pan, you know the nostalgia. The modern version of Pizza Hut leans hard on oil and sweetness, not real dough flavor. That pan crisp comes from a slick of oil, which fakes texture while the crust stays bland. Fermentation builds flavor and chew. Here, added sugar props up a flat sauce and tips the whole pie sweet. Blind tastings call out candy-like sauce over tomato character, plus a greasy mouthfeel that buries weak cheese. And the bake? All over the map. Soggy middle one night, dried edges the next. So the indulgence you feel is oil and sugar doing the work. Now let's move on to the arcade first kitchen. If you eat at Chuck E. Cheese, you're buying tokens, an illegal meal. The food is a sideshow. The truth is the model treats pizza like a wristband. Cheap, fast, compliant. Reports flag rubbery, bland cheese that doesn't brown right, thin sauce, and a crust with cardboard charm. That tracks with an industrial mozzarella substitute that melts glossy but tastes flat. Par-baked crusts bake fast, yet chew like paper. Holding and reheats drain life from every slice. Consumer reviews call the cheese lifeless and the sauce underwhelming. The operation prioritizes entertainment throughput, not dough time or tomato quality. Your dollars buy noise and nostalgia, not a satisfying pie. Skip the slice and save your appetite. Now let's move on to the mall slice that never seems to age, because it sits under a lamp. Airport hunger meets a glowing heat lamp. The slice looks big. The flavor is small. Sbarro leans on pre-made pies held for hours. Under lamps, moisture wicks out, toppings bleed into the dough, and the center sags while the rim turns leathery. Low-moisture cheese tightens into a rubber band. The sauce tastes like sweetened paste, built for shelf life, not tomatoes. That sweetness tries to hide the cardboard finish, but fails. Here's the kicker. One slice and a drink runs near the price of a whole fresh pie elsewhere. Reviews slam limp texture, bland sauce, and pepperoni that leaks grease into a soggy base. Convenience taxes your wallet and your taste buds. If you can, walk 10 steps. Let us talk about buffets that promise endless value and deliver endless compromise. Unlimited sounds like a deal until you realize unlimited means ultra-thin flavor stretched forever. At Cicis, cost control drives the plate, not taste. The sauce reads like watered-down ketchup, sweet, thin, and short on herbs. The cheese melts into a glossy, rubbery sheet with little dairy pull. Pies rotate under heat lamps, so freshness becomes a timing game you rarely win. Buffet economics push cheaper inputs and par-baked crusts. Constant holding means a soggy middle or cracker-dry edges, sometimes both on the same slice. Consumer rankings place Cicis near the bottom, with reviews citing sweet sauce, limp texture, and flavorless and sad. The real kicker, if you need 3 slices to equal 1 good slice, you didn't save money. The $5 headline deal goes next. Fast, cheap, and often hollow. Hot and ready is speed you can hold in one hand. Flavor depends on the hour and the hold at Little Caesars. When volume rules, par-baked crust meets a sweet sauce and a melt-stable cheese blend. You get fast, not rich. The crumb runs coarse with little fermentation character. Under heat lamps, toppings flatten, edges dry, and the bite shifts from soft chew to stiff board, like biting into a coaster. Deals lure you in, but the slice often acts like a salt and sugar delivery system. Consumer tests note cardboard on held pies while fresh-out bakes fare better, and sodium sits high for the bargain tier. Catch it the minute it lands, and it's passable. Miss the window, chew the $5 lie. Enough with what to skip. Now the chains that earn the extra dollars. You don't need a $30 artisan pie to get real ingredients. You need chains that spend on tomatoes, cheese, and ovens, not lamps. The myth says cheap equals value. The truth is a few dollars more buys fermentation, higher heat bakes, and sauces that taste like tomatoes, not candy. Look for fresh-packed tomatoes, real mozzarella, longer dough proof, and ovens that hit serious heat for char and chew. Third-party tests and broad consumer surveys rank these picks higher on flavor and texture, and the deals help. Carry-out specials and coupons keep cost per satisfying slice low. Pay for ingredients and heat, not marketing. Your slice gets better, and you eat less to feel satisfied. Let's start with a chain that leans into bold, tomato-forward sauce and solid build quality. The first bite tells you the sauce has backbone, not candy. It reads tomato, with herbs that actually show up on your tongue. Can a national chain keep that and still price well? Marco's leans savory and loads toppings without turning the pie into syrup. The sauce is robust and herb-forward. The cheese has real dairy pull and browns instead of glossing over. The dough eats bready, with structure, not biscuit crumble. Loaded pies hold form and don't slide into grease puddles. Taste tests praise the balanced seasoning and topping quality. Deals and carry-out specials push cost per satisfying slice below the cheap crowd. Flavor density means fewer slices. That is real value. Now for square slices with a crust that fights back, in a good way. Detroit-style done right. Airy crumb, caramelized edge, real chew. That's the brief here at Jet's Pizza. Thick usually means doughy regret, but Jet's leans on slow fermentation and a hot bake, so the center stays light while the corners snap. Cheese rides the pan walls and browns into a lacy edge. Actual caramelization, not a greasy slick. Oil is used for crisp, not as a puddle. Longer proof times give lift and a clean chew that doesn't gum up as it cools. Taste tests praise that texture contrast and the corner crunch. You can tweak it further with turbo crust seasonings, garlic, parmesan, even jalapeno, for punch without a sugar ball. One dense square satisfies like two cheap slices. And finally, the delivery titan that's better when you know how to order. Logistics king, flavor wild card. There's a smart way to play it as Domino's did. The base leans sweet and staged, but you can steer it. Choose the robust sauce to cut the candy note. Ask for an extra bake for browning and a firmer rim. Go hand-tossed over pan for a cleaner chew. Pick fewer, better toppings so heat can do its job. After the 2009 overhaul, consumer tests showed gains in crust and seasoning, and the app deals matter. A custom, well-baked pie often lands near the bargain crowd on price, without the limp bite. Tuned right, Domino's beats the bottom tier on taste and cost per satisfying slice. So what is the takeaway when the $5 sign flashes at you? The real kicker, that $5 pie charges a hidden tax, sugar, sodium, and emptiness. Spend a little more on heat, fermentation, and real dairy, and you eat better with less. Your wallet feels the same, your slice doesn't. If this gave you something to chew on, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who still thinks the lamplit slice is a bargain. You might want to save them from the glow. Next time you order, ask one question. Am I paying for ingredients or for a heat lamp? That answer steers your appetite, and it tells chains what you actually value.